Well, hello YouTube! In today's video, we're going to be asking the question, will they burn it or won't they? Yes, I know, it's a big question and we're going to ask a little bit later to find out how much Omi is actually going to get burnt from the last Veve drop that we had. Or maybe it's not the last now when this video comes out, but you get the idea. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Okay, so here we are on the main screen. We're going to bring down this this screen here so we can see what's going on. So first up, we've got Hello K here, surprise cat. June is going to be a mad month for anyone who enjoys digital collectibles, is a thing that he put out on the 1st of June. So he's excited about it. Now, you've got to remember that Hello K, he's a developer himself. He does all that kind of stuff for Amazon, I believe. And he knows a lot of people who work with Komi. And he's probably under NDA, so he can't say exactly what it is, but he does know that something's coming. Now, I suppose you could argue that anybody could just say that at the beginning of the month and then something big happens and they go, hey, I told you so, because they can't actually say anything. But we have to trust what he says, that there is something big coming. Now, we don't know what it is, but obviously he says that it's something to do with digital collectibles. Now, they did drop the old GM the other day on the keyboard that they put on Twitter. Now, by the time this video comes out, maybe we know what that is already, but for now, all we know is that they dropped that. Now, it could mean General Motors, it could be something to do with that, so therefore we're going to get some cars or something like that, or it could just be saying good morning for Web3, or it could be hinting at something is coming about interoperability because of the fact that they're talking in Web3 language. Either way, we don't really know, and it's all just speculation. But here's a bit of speculation for you, because he says June is going to be a mad month for anyone who enjoys digital collectibles. Whilst watching one of the AMAs with David, I noticed that he had all of his cores on display. Now, I don't remember him having all of his cores on display in previous videos, so therefore maybe I'm clutching at straws here, but maybe it's something to do with what's coming in June, because cores is a massive fandom. Hello K is very passionate about cores himself, I know that much. I don't know much about them, not really my thing, but I know a lot of people love these things, so therefore in that sense maybe it's going to be something announcement around that sort of idea, or maybe it's just going to be something completely different and I'm completely off the beaten track. But either way, let me know what you think in the comments, or maybe you've found out by now by the time this video comes out. Next up is this. This is something Dr. Profit. I follow this guy on the on Twitter, and he has some really interesting things to say, and this is something I wanted to bring up because a lot of people are worried. Obviously, the SEC the other day, they created a lot of fuss, and still are essentially, because of the fact that they are making certain tokens or coins as well, certain coins and tokens to be securities rather than being crypto, so therefore it changes them somewhat, and it means that a lot of the they're going after the exchanges, and the exchanges are being sued for having them on them essentially, and they're being told they're doing lots of underground dealings and stuff like that. Now, whether or not you agree with what the SEC is doing, or whether you think you know, because apparently it's there to protect the American public, it's there to protect the retail traders, to make sure they don't get pulled into scams and stuff like that. What ends up happening is the crypto community absolutely hates them, because generally what happens is if they declare something a security, then that token drops in price. In fact, if you just look at crypto in general over the last couple of days, you can see everything is in the red, pretty much everything. So I don't think there's one green token out there one of the days I looked. So therefore, you know, it will start to do its thing a bit later. But for now, it's that situation. And this guy here, Dr. Profit, says a lot of good stuff, and I want you to let me know what you think in the comments below, because what exactly is the reason that people don't want Omi to be a security? Is it just because of the drop in price, because that can change at a later date? I'll explain why in a second. Or is it because of something else? So let me know your thoughts in the comments. But let's read this through and let's have a look, because he says this happens when coins are officially declared as security. So we know this happens. This is literally what happened to XRP, etc. Crypto exchanges that are based in the US. Now, incidentally, it is only the US. The SEC only has jurisdiction in the US, nothing at all in, you know, other places like Hong Kong and places like that. So you can still get most of these things on other exchanges anyway. So I don't really know why that's a big issue. But I guess, again, the US is the biggest crypto market, or probably one of the biggest. So therefore, when something like that happens and they can't get the token anymore, it basically means that, you know, it's like trying to buy something from another country. If you like a particular food, you have to try and buy it from another country. It's more expensive, or you just can't get it, or it's hard harder to get or whatever. So maybe it's like that. So therefore it means that the token drops in price because not that many people want to bother to go through that hassle of trying to get it. So, and the same with XRP, obviously. So crypto exchanges that are based in the US and have US customers need to delist the coins that are labeled as securities from the exchange as long as they can't provide the securities or commodities trading license. Now, it's more than easy to get such a license for exchanges such as Coinbase, for example. So therefore, they can actually easily get these licenses to trade. The issue is, and that is what he puts about here, is that it's to discover the framework. And the framework, the decision of how they're going to decide what is security and what isn't, is actually to be submitted by the SEC. But the trouble is that Coinbase, for example, has to know what is the security and what is not, and they have to use the framework to decide, but the SEC still hasn't really decided what the framework is or what the what makes something a security. So therefore it's pretty much guesswork for that reason. Now, should crypto exchanges fail to receive a trading license, which probably I'm guessing a lot of them will for that reason, because they don't know what is a security, the mentioned crypto coins can be traded on the stock market in the future. So that's really interesting. So we don't necessarily lose all access to them. They just become stocks, essentially, because they become securities, I guess. However, it's important that the entire coin supply is fully in circulation. Now, the good thing about OMI is it's actually in full circulation at the moment. Now, you've got to remember also that a lot of people have been complaining about what's been going on with OMI, but you've got to realise that now the SEC are cracking down, which they knew was coming. OMI sort of had this foresight to know that something was coming, and they started putting measures in place so that it wouldn't be classed as a security. Now, if it does become a security, then we can trade it on the stock market, which kind of gives a little bit of added option to us as well, because it says this will be a key role to get listed on the stock market. Indeed, there are several coins that are 90% unlocked and have a huge potential risk in being labeled as securities. So now OMI is completely 100% unlocked. That means we don't have to worry about that side of things. And if it does become a security and it gets traded on the stock market, that means that the company itself has an obligation to you as a investor. Whereas with crypto, they don't, because you're just buying a token that officially doesn't really do anything apart from really fund the effort, even though obviously you're relying on them doing stuff. But that kind of makes it become a security. Once it does become a security, if it does, then it means that you have more rights as an investor. As in, if they don't manage to do anything with that token that you've invested in, you can actually take legal action against them. Which is kind of crazy to think about. So, and now what is the bad thing about it coming to security? I guess the thing is that Ecomi themselves will probably get a fine, and they will probably get in trouble because of the fact that they are a unregistered security. Even though there's no guidelines in place as to what a security actually is, essentially. There are guidelines, but they're from like, you know, I think it's 1933, something like that, and or something ridiculous like that. I can't remember exactly. I'll put the details on the screen, so because I'm just going from memory here. So therefore, you know, these are quite old, these guidelines, and therefore for that reason, you know, do they really apply to today's things? Because today it's changed massively, hasn't it? You know, so therefore maybe they need to be rewritten or something like that so they can actually figure out what the guidelines are. Now, as it says here, it says coin developers need to report requirements such as annual reports, profits, loss statements, and environmental, social, and governance reports. So at the moment, I guess they don't have to do that. A stock trading company obviously does. If you've got stocks or whatever and shares, then all that sort of stuff has to be reported because you as a investor get to know all that information as well, don't you? Whereas in crypto, it's kind of a bit different. You know, you can literally be blind. Everyone could be not even doxed. You can have a completely team that nobody knows about, and you can have all that stuff going on, and they can just say things that aren't really true and stuff like that. Whereas with a security, obviously it changes slightly. So these reports are already existing when these so-called decentralized coin developers need to pay taxes. There are some tokens that have decided to register with SEC as a security already. So I wonder if Ecomi are thinking about that, maybe registering as a security, or maybe they're not because of the fact that at the end of the day they've been trying to put things in place to stop them being a security. I don't know on that one, just speculation. Coins are truly developing the working something will survive and get a security license that allows exchanges and stock markets to list these coins. So basically, the coins that are truly developing and working on something are the ones that are going to survive, is what he's saying. And if you think about it, Ecomi has a product out there that is working. It's doing its thing. If they were to, you know, go through the hoops of not being a security anymore, or like if they are deemed a security, they're not just going to throw in the towel and then that's going to be the end of it. They're going to work to get the licenses that they need to get on exchanges, to get on, you know, stock market or whatever, so they can list these coins, basically. So the coins are only good at writing white papers and developing nothing, just scamming retail investors, won't get any license and will go to zero. So I'm not going to mention any names on that one, but obviously if you've got just a, you know, the people who, well, there's a lot of scams out there, isn't there, at the end of the day. But there's also a lot of legitimate coins, meme coins, etc., that you know, say that they are legitimate and this, and all they do is they write a good white paper. Everybody throws in on this thing, but because there's no actual product behind it, they're going to go to zero, is what he's saying. So I don't know. I don't know whether you agree with what he says. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to know. But this is a chap, Dr. Profit Crypto. He says some interesting things, and it's all on Twitter. So go and find his details. Okay, so here is the last and final thing, and that is what I was talking about at the beginning, and that is, will it burn? And that is the OMI that's associated with the Veve logos. Now, don't forget, we had the drop of the Veve logos. They did the test for the waitlist, so the waitlist seems to be working now, which is pretty cool. It's something that lots of people have been wanting for a long time. And they're going to push the KYC to the middle now because they've got the waitlist. It means that the bots and stuff are going to have a harder time getting stuff, maybe. You know, I don't know, because maybe essentially what they could just do is they could create 1 million accounts and then get into the waitlist, and then they've got more of a chance, haven't they? The more accounts they create with the bots, the more chance they've got of getting something, and then from then they only have to do 1 KYC account, so they can then send that to them, and then that can then cash out. So because you only need 1 KYC account to be able to cash out. However, you know, we don't know if that's going to be the case or whatever, but the point is that it does make it a little less friction for the people coming in the first place. And when it comes to any product, the less friction you can put in front of people, the better it is. So we know that taking KYC and putting it after, so therefore they can sell on the market, but only if they KYC, is a much better idea, I would say. However, that does open up more for bots and stuff like that. But again, when there was bots in there, the prices got artificially inflated, and it means that anyone that was holding these things could actually sell them for more as well, in a way. So kind of bots sort of helped out the artificial inflation of the whole thing anyway. So maybe it's a good thing, I don't know. But anyway, so here we go. At least it will be a lot of OMI burn if they stick to what they said about their own IP with no licensors to pay. Now this is true because they dropped the Veve logos. All of those logos, you had the blue, the red, and the green, I think it was, if I remember rightly. Now, those logos, it was quite funny because I put out a little tweet on my Twitter. If you haven't followed me, at @ESTN_crypto, you will find me on there. And I put out tweets every so often, and you know, sort of hopefully try and stop you from blowing loads of money on stuff, because of the fact that I tend to, if I see something security based, like the other day there was a thing on Atomic Wallet, then I put out a tweet out straight away so that people know what's going on, so that if you hold the Atomic Wallet or if you hold anything that's crypto based and it's getting hacked, then at least you can know about it. So make sure you follow me on Twitter. You'll find me at ESTN_crypto. Well, basically on Twitter I put out a little thing. It was just a joke saying that, now I see why Veve did the different colours for the logos, because essentially they made a butt ton of money by selling 3 or 4 different coloured logos. And do you remember in one of the AMAs, Dan was actually joking about this, saying, oh, we're going to send out the V, and then we're going to send out the E, and then we're going to send out the V again, and then the E again. So basically 4 different drops, and everyone was like, oh, ha, ha, ha. But they actually did that, but they just did it in different colours. So therefore, now they were only $8 a piece, and you are getting a lot of money back if you sold them in the secondary market, because they are fetching quite a bit at the moment. They are massively above retail, which is great. However, it does mean that what was supposed to happen was when anything OMI related, or not OMI related, but Veve related, the IP, it doesn't really exist for them. They don't have to pay any licensor fees or anything like that. So they did say that anything OMI related or anything Veve related would actually get burned with the amount of OMI that you would put in for it. So therefore they would actually burn the OMI that you use to buy it. Now the issue is this, they actually charged you dollars or gems for this one. So therefore I've got a feeling that they're just not going to do anything on this one, which is unfortunate, because there was quite a lot of money that was made. Because how can they possibly do that? The only way they could do that is use some of the money to buy some OMI and then burn it individually. But if they do that, does that then make them in trouble with the SEC, for example, because of the fact that they are then inflating or controlling the supply by doing something in the background, essentially, which is why they took away the buybacks, from what I can gather. So therefore, in terms of what Hello K is saying here, at least a lot of OMI will be burned if they stick to what they said. I don't think that's going to happen, because I think that when they're talking about here, they're talking about when you can actually buy stuff in the app with OMI. Which that day will come, and that day will be great. When they actually have OMI in the app, that will be fantastic. And I know a lot of you, like myself, are looking forward to that because of the fact that it means that people will be able to go to the app, they'll be able to buy OMI, then they'll be able to buy the stuff they want to buy, and then that, if it's VVIP, will then be burnt. But in terms of the actual VV logos, I don't think that's going to be the case, because I don't think they've got their eggs in their basket and they're all ready to go, unfortunately. But, you know, that is the way it is, unfortunately. But that's it for me today. Thank you very much for joining me, as always. Don't forget, it's not financial advice in any way, shape or form. If you want to get yourself any VV merch, make sure you go to omihomiesmerch.com, and there you will find some new logo VV t-shirts. This isn't one of them, by the way, but you'll find them there. We've got some hoodies there, we've got some sweatshirts, we've got all sorts of cool stuff. And it's all done through Amazon, which means it's a next day delivery, or in the next couple of days or whatever. And if you don't like it, or you find that it's too small or whatever, you just send it straight back to Amazon, and they'll send you out another one, or you just get your money back. Either way, it doesn't bother me. It's really just a service to you guys, so that way you get the new VV logo stuff at a nice cheap price. So if you like any of that stuff, then feel free to go to Amazon, and also on the omihomiesmerch.com, all of the influencers on the site. We've got VV Volt on there, we've got Johnny Dunn, and we've got myself on there. And if any other influencers want to get on the site, then do hit me up and let me know. And all the money that it comes from selling your items goes directly to you. So I don't keep any of it. It all goes to you. All the profits go to you. So therefore, if you'd like to hit me up for any of those things, then feel free to do that. And if you want to support any of the creators on the site, then feel free to go along and buy their stuff. Thank you very much for joining me. As I said, not financial advice. Crypto goes up, can make you loads of money, or you can go down and you can completely lose your shirt. But that is essentially crypto. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.